Alright, subpart C, specification for pressure tanker car tanks, class DOT 105, 109, 112, 114, and 120. Section 179 100, general specification applicable to pressure tanker car tanks. 179 101, tanker built under the specification comply with the requirements of section 179 100, 179 101, and when applicable to 179 102, 179 103. 179 103. Tanks built under the specification shall be fusion welded with the head designed convex to the outward, except for the provided with the statute 179 103. They should be circular with the cross section. Should be provided with a manway nozzle at the top of the tank sufficient size to permit the access interior man cover, and provided with the mounting of all the valves, measuring sample devices, and protective housing. Other openings in the tank are prohibited except for the provided with the part 173 of the chapter 179 100 114 179 101 101 179 102 179 103. Head shields and shells tanks built under the specification must be normalized. Tank car's head must be normalized after foaming unless special approval is granted with facility equipment and controls. 179 100 104. Insulation is applied with the tank of the shell with the manway nozzle must be insulated with approved material. After the entire insulation must be covered with the metal jack with a thickness not less than 1/11 gauge or nominal manufacturer standard gauge, and they flash around all openings with S2B with weather tight. The exterior surface of the carbon steel tank and inside surface the carbon steel jacket that must be given with the protective coating. Insulation specification requirement shall be the sufficient thickness of the thermal conduction of 60 degrees Fahrenheit is not more than 0.075 BTUs per hour per square foot per degree of Fahrenheit temperature differential. Exterior heater is attached to the tank. The thickness for the insulation over each of the heater element may reduce one half of the required shell. Thickness of the plate. The wall thickness that forming with the tank of the shell and heads must not be less than specified in statute 179 101, nor they have calculated following for the formula. T is equal to PD divided by 2 SE. D is the inside diameter of inches. E is the 1.0 weld to the joint efficiency exception, except for the heads with the seams of 0.9. P is the minimum required bursting pressure in the PSI. S is the minimum tensile strength of the plate material for the PSI prescribed in section 179 107. 107. T is the minimum thickness of the plate and thicknesses are forming. If the plates are clad with material have the tensile strength property for the at least equal to the base plate with the cladding may be considerable the part of the base material determining thickness if the clad material does not have the tensile strength at least equal to the base of the plate. The base plate alone shall meet the thickness requirement when aluminum plate is used for the minimum with the bottom sheet with the tank shall be 60 inches measured on the arc, but in all cases the width shall be sufficient to bring the entire width of the longitude weld joint, including welds above together. Above the bolster. 179 107. The material steel plate material thickness fabricated tank shells manual nozzle weights must comply with one of the following specification indicated: minimal tensile strength, elongation welding condition, maximum allowable carbon content must be 0.31%. When the individual specification allows the carbon greater than this amount, the plates may be clad with an improved material. Alright, specification: minimal tensile strength, PSI welded conditions, a minimum elongation of 2 inches and percent welded continuation longitudinal. Alright, aluminum alloy. Aluminum alloy material used for the fabricated tank shell manway nozzle must be suitable for the fusion welding, must be complied with the following specifications of the IBRC 171-7 for the subchapter for the indicated the minimum tensile strength and elongation welding condition. Specifications: the minimum tensile strength with a zero temper welded condition. Minimum elongation 2 inches percent with a zero temper welded condition longitudinal. High alloy steel. High alloy steel must conform with the following specifications. 2-1. High alloy steel fabrication tanks must be tested in accordance with the following procedure for the ASTM A262. Standard procedure for detecting suspectability intragranular attack of the authentic stainless steel. The IBRC 171-7 with the subchapter that must be exhibited corrosion rates not exceeding the following. Testing procedure: material corrosion IPMs practice B to the type 304L and 316L at 0.004 of an IPM. Practice C type 304L 2,000 of an IPM. Type 304 and 316 test prescription must be given sensitivity treatment prior to testing. All attachments welded tank shall meet the approved material which is suitable for the welding of the tank. 179-108 tank heads. The tank head shape shall be an ellipse of the revolution, a revolution of which the major axis shall equal the diameter of the shell adjacent to the head, but the minor axis shall be one half of the major axis. Each tank head must meet the seal which requirement of the fine grain with the material specification which is formed. The temperature exceeding 1700 degrees Fahrenheit must be normalized after forming the heating of the temperature between 1550 degrees 17 and 1700 degrees Fahrenheit, holding that temperature for at least 1 hour per inch of the thickness, 30 minutes minimum, and this cooling air of the material specification requirements quenching the tempering and treatment specified in that specification must be used instead of one specified above. 179-109 welding. All joints of the fusion weld in compliance with the requirements of the AR specification, tank car, Appendix W, IBR, see the 171S, and subchapter welding procedure welder fabricated shall be approved. 179-110 post-weld heat treatment. A welding is complete steel with the tank attachments welded therein the post-weld heated treatment until compliant with the requirements of the AR specification for the tank cars, Appendix W, IBRC 171.7 for the chapter. The aluminum tank's post-weld heat treatment is prohibited. Tank and weld attachments fabricated with the ASTM A240 and A240M, IBRC 177F for the subchapter Type 304L and Type 316L. Materials do not require post-heat weld heat treatment, but materials do require corrosion-resistant tests as specified in Section 179-107C2. 179-112 manway nozzles and cover protecting hosing. Manway nozzles must be approved with design forged rolled steel for steel tanks with fabricated aluminum tanks with the access opening with at least 18 inches inside diameter or at least 14 inches within 18 inches around the oval. Each nozzle must be welded with the tank and the opening reinforced with the approval of the man or the compliance with the requirements of the AR specification for the tank control. Tank cards Appendix E figure E10 with the IBRC with this 171.7 with the subchapter. Manway cover that shall be machined with the dimension B with the 4 with the rolled carbon alloy steel rolling aluminum and nickel when required with the landing minimum thickness is listed in these 179-101 manway cover that should be attached with the manway nozzle through the stud bolts and non-entering tank except as provided in statute 179-103-2A. Except as provided in 179-103, the protective housing and cast forged fabricated approved materials must be bolted to the manway covered width with not less than 20 and 3¼ inch studs with the share of the value of the bolts attaching the protective housing. The manway cover must not exceed 70% of the sharing of the value of the bolts of the attaching manway cover. The manway nozzle housing must have steel sidewise not less than 3/4 of an inch of the thickness, and it must be equipped with a metal cover not less than 1/4 of an inch in thickness. The securely closed, the housing cover must have suitable stop preventing cover sticking, striking, and unloading connections and be hinged on one side or open only with approved rivet pin and rod with nuts and cotter opening in a wall. Housing must be equipped with screw plugs and other closures. 179-113 venting, unloading valves, measuring, sampling devices. Venting, unloading valves must be approved with the design made with the material that is not subject to rapid deterioration. Landing and must withstand with the tank test pressure without leakage. The valve shall be bolted with the seating on the mainway covered except with the provided in statute 179-103 valves outlet should be closed with approved screw plugs with the other closure fastened to prevent misplacement. The interior pipe of the unloading valve shall be anchored with except with the prescribed in 173-314J and 179-102, 179-103 may be equipped with the excess flow valves of the approved design. Gouging device. Sample the valve with the thermometer well with the specification requirements when used, but they shall be approved with the design made with the metal not subject to the rapid deterioration by the landing shall be withstand the tank test pressure without leakage. Interior pipe with the gauging device. Sampling valve except with the prescribed in statute 173-314J and 179-102 and 179-103 may be equipped with the excessive flow valve with approved design. Interior pipe the thermometer will be anchored in and approved the manner to prevent breakage of the vibration. The thermometer well shall be closed by an approved valve attached with the close with the manway cover. The other approved location closed by a screw plug. Other approved arrangement for the permanent testing thermometer where leaks without the complete removal of the closure may be used. An excess flow rate referred to the specification device for the close automatically against the forward flow of the contents of the tank in case with the external closure valve with the broken off with the removed during the transit. Excessive flow valves must be designed bypass to allow the equalization of the pressure. Bottom of the tank shall be equipped with a sump with a siphon bowl with the bowl or both welded and pressed into the shell with the sumps and the siphon bowl that is applied, not limited to the side of the must be made with the cast with the forge fabricated with metal to each of the sump with the siphon bowl must be good welding quality in conjunction with the metal tank shells and some of the siphon bowl is measured and pressed in the bottom of the tank shell. The wall thickness of the press must not be less than the specified of that of the shell. The section of the circular cross the section tank to which the sump and siphon bowl is attached need not to comply with the outerness roundness of the requirements specified in the AR specification tank car. Appendix WW14.06 IBR 17171C 7 of the subchapter. Any portion of the sump of the siphon bowl not found forming at the part of the cylinder with the cylinder involved revolution must have the walls of such thickness that so being reinforced the stress of the walls caused with the greater given internal pressure no greater than the circumferential stress that would exist under the same internal pressure of the wall tank and the circular cross-section design in accordance with the statute 179-106A. In no case shall the wall thickness be less than specified in 179-1011. 179-114 bottom outlets. Bottom outlets discharge landing of the prohibited except for the provided in the statute 179-103. 3 indicated with the 179-103-101 tank may be equipped at the bottom of the washout approved with the construction applied with the bottom of the washout shall be in accordance with the following requirements. The extreme projection of the bottom washout equipment may not be more than the allowed appendix by appendix E of the AR specification of tanker cars IBR 171-7 for the subchapter. The bottom washout shall be cast on the forged fabricated metal but shall be fusion welded to the tank. It shall be good weldable quality in conjunction with the metal and tank. If the bottom of the washout nozzle will extend with 6 inches more of the shell tank of the V-shaped breakage of the groove shall be cut in no cast upper part of the outlet nozzle with the part of the immediate below the lowest part of the inside closure of the seat and pressure and if no case made nozzle with the wall thickness at the proof of the V with the more 1/4 inch. When nozzles are not signal piece for the provision shall be made with the equivalent of the breakage groove. The nozzle must be the thickness to ensure the accidental breakage will occur with the below the V groove with the equivalent on the cars without continuous center of the sills of the breakage groove. The equivalent may be not more than 15 inches below the tank shell on the cars, but the continuous center sill of the breakage groove is equivalent must be approved above the bottom of the center sill construction. The closure and plug and seat and shall be readily accessible, removable to repair. The closure of the washout nozzle should be equipped with a 3/4 inch solid screw plug. The plug must be attached with at least 1/4 inch from the chain. Joints being between closures and their seats must be gasketed with suitable material. 179-116 attachments. Reinforcement pads must be between external brackets and shells. Attachment weld exceeding 6 linear inches, 1/4 inch fillet equivalent welded per bracket leg. When reinforcement pads are used, they must not be less than 1/4 of an inch and thickness and have one corner round at 1 inch minimum radius. Be attached with a 10 continuous fillet welds except with the venting provisions. The ultimate shear strength of the bracket and reinforced the pad weld that must be not exceed 85% of the ultimate shear strength of the reinforcement pad to tank weld. Attachments not otherwise specified shall be applied and improved means. 179-117 closure and open. Closure should be approved with the design made with the metal but not objected to rapid deterioration by landing of the plugs. If used, shall be installed with the NPT threads, but there shall not be length of width with the screw with at least 6 threads inside of the facing of the fitting of the tank. So 179-118 tank. Test of the tank. Each tank shall be tested completely filling the tank man-way nozzle with water without other liquid and similar velocity at a temperature which shall not exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit during the testing, applying the pressure prescribed in 179-101. The tank should hold the prescribed pressure of at least 10 minutes without leakage of evidence of distress. Insulated tanks shall be tested before installation and applied. Caulking and welding joints to stop the leaks developing during the foregoing of the test. Prohibited repairs and welds joints shall be prescribed in AR specification for the tank cars. Appendix W IBRC 171C for the subchapter testing the exterior heaters and the specification requirements. 179-119 test of the safety relief valve. Each valve shall be tested with the area of the gas compliance to statute 179-15 before becoming and being put into service. B is reserved. 179-102 stamping. To certify the tank complied with all the specification requirements, each tank shall plainly permanently stamp and lettered figures at least 3/8 of an inch high in the metal, all near the center of the holes or both outsides. Heads Specification .105 A100W material ASTM A516 cladding material ASTM A240304 tank building initials clad a date of original test ABC car assembler 00000 DEF. Reserved. Statute 179-101 individual specification requirements applicable to pressure tanks. 179-101 individual specification requirements. In addition, with 179-101 individual specification requirements are as follows. And then it has such a chart which shows the specification insulation bursting pressure in PSI gauge, minimum thickness in inches, testing pressure in PSI gauge, manual cover thickness of the bottom outlet, bottom wash outlet, and reference number. All right, 179-102 special commodity requirements of the pressure tank cars tanks. In addition, with 179-100 and 179-101, the following requirements are applicable. 179-102-1 carbon dioxide refrigerator liquid. Tank cars using transportation carbon dioxide refrigerator liquid must comply with the following special requirements. All plates and tanks manned nozzle the anchorage of the tank must be made of the carbon steel performed with the ASTM A516 and A516 IBR 171-7 of the subchapter grades 5560 and 6570. AR specification TC was 12878, grade B ASTM A516, A516M plates must also meet the sharp EV notch test requirements of the ASTM A20, A20M. See table 16 IBR 171-7 for the subchapter longitudinal direction rolling TC 128 plate must be in sharp EV energy. Absorption requirement of 15 pound for the minimum average of 3 specimens for the town, 10 foot-pound for the minimum of 1 specimen at a minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Longitudinal direction rolling according to the ASTM A370 IBR C171C with the subchapter production well tested plate prepared with the required in W4.00 AR specification tank cars appendix W IBR C171-7 with the subchapter must be included the impact testing specimen with the welding metal with the heat affected zone as in alternate anchored legs may be fabricated in stainless steel ASTM A240 and A240M types 304, 304L, 316 and 316L which impacts tests are not required. Alright, 179-102 chlorine. Each tanker car must be transported with chlorine, must comply with all the following. The tanks must be fabricated. The carbon steel comply with the ASTM specification A5516, grade 70, AR specification TC 128, and grade A and B. Alright, 179-102 material poison and inhalation. Each tank built with after March 16, 2009 with the transportation material poison with inhalation must, in addition with the requirement for the prescribed in 179-112, enclose the service equipment with the protective housing on the cover of the tank must be equipped with a top fitting of the protection system with a nozzle capable of sustaining without failure the roll over the accident speed of the 9 miles per hour, which rolling protective housing strike with a stationary surface assumed with a flat or level to ridge with the speed determined as the linear velocity measure of the geometric center of the load of the tank as in transverse vector of the failure of the steam to curve the deform the protective housing context any of the surface equipment with the tank of the retention capabilities compromised. As an alternative to the tanker car top fitting protection system, the requirements of paragraph A1 of the section, the tanker car must be equipped with a system to prevent the release of the product from any top fitting. In the case of the accident where the top fitting would be shared off the tank of the nozzle must meet the performance standard in paragraph A1 of the section. Only mechanically operated excessive flow devices are approved or authorized. An application of approval of the tanker car built with accordance with 173-244A and 173-314D must include the demonstrated, therefore, engineering analysis, tank jacket, and support structure system, including any tanker support devices, is compatible with standing 6 miles per hour with the coupling within the jacket shift and with the result of damage to the nozzle. 179-102-4 vinyl fluoride stabilized. Each tank used for the transportation vinyl fluoride stabilized must comply with the following special requirements. All plates of the tanks must be fabricated material in paragraph A2 of the section with the prudency must be fabricated the material listed for the paragraph A1 and A2 of the section stainless steel ASTM A240A and A240M type 304, 304L, 316, 316L, in which case the impact of the test not required. Steel complying with the ASTM specification A516 and of the grade 70 ASTM specification A537. Class 1 of the AR specification, Class B, of which the case impact test must be performed. ASTM 516 and 516M and the 530A, 537 and 537M must meet the Sharpie Vaillancourt test requirements longitudinal direction of the rolling of the ASTM A220A20M. AR specification TC128 material must meet the Sharpie V-notch requirements of longitudinal directional rolling 15 foot-pound minimum average specimen with a 10-foot minimum any one of the specimen and minimum of 50 degrees Fahrenheit, colder in accordance with the ASTM A370. Production welded test plates must be prepared in accordance with the AR specification tanker cars appendix WW4.00. Include impact specimen welded metal with the affected zone prepared with the test in accordance with the AR specification for the tanker cars appendix WW9.00, meeting the same impact requirements as the metal plate material. Installation must be approved with the material excess flow valve must be installed with all the liquid vapor valves except for the safety valve, the safety relief valve. The thermometer valve may be installed only and approved. The gauging device may be installed. Alright, have a pressure gauge for the install may be installed. Aluminum, copper, silver, zinc, and any alloy containing any of the metals may not be used for the tank construction and fittings in contact with the landing. The jacket may be stenciled and adjacent with water capacity stencil. Minimum operation temperature degrees Fahrenheit. The tank installation must be designed to prevent vapor pressure with the landing of the increase for the pressure of the maximal allowable filling density to start the discharge pressure, reclosing the pressure relief of the valve within 30 days of the ambient temperature of 90 degrees Fahrenheit. 179-102-17 hydrogen chloride refrigerated liquid. Each tank can carry used with the hydrogen chloride of refrigerated liquid must comply with the following special requirement. The tank carrier must comply with the specification .1005J604W. May be designed loading at a minimum minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit or colder. All plates of the tank must be fabricated with materials listed with the paragraph B2 of the section. Imprudencies must be fabricated with material listed with paragraph B1 and B2 of the section. Stainless steel ASTM A240 and A240M, IBRCs 171.7 with the subchapter the type 304, 304L, 316, 316L, in which case the impact tests are not required, or steel conform with the ASTM A516, A516M, IBRC with 171.7 for the subchapter the grade 70 ASTM A537, A537M. Grade 1 or AAR specification TC128 grade B, in which case the impact test must be performed as follows. The ASTM 516A, 516M, and A537 and A537 must meet the Sharpie V-notch test requirement for longitudinal direction rolling ASTM A, 20A, and 20M. AR specification TC128 must meet the Sharpie V-notch test requirement longitudinal direction rolling 15 pounds per minute with an average 3 specimen with a 10-foot minimum pound, ending with the 1 specimen minimum of 50 degrees colder, in accordance with the ASTM 370, A370. Production weld test plates and prepared in accordance with the AR specification tanker cars appendix WW40. Include the impact testing specimen weld metal with a heat effective prepared tested according to the AR specification tanker cars appendix W9.0. Meet special impact requirements. The same plate and insulation must meet the approved material. Pressure relief valve must be trimmed with the monol or other approved material equipped with the rupture of the disc with a silver poly tetrafluoroethylene coated monol or tantalum. Each of the pressure relief device shall have the space between the rupture disc and valve vented with the suitable auxiliary reserve. The discharge for each of the pressure relief valve must be directed outside of the protective housing. Loading and unload valves may be trimmed with a HASS oil B or C model with other approved material identified. Vapor liquid excess flow valves must be installed with under all liquid vapor valves except for the safety relief valve. The thermal valve may be installed, and only an approved gauging device may be installed. Some must be installed with the bottom of the tank under the liquid. All gaskets must be made with the coated with the polyfluoroethanol, other approved material. The tank of the car must be equipped with the exterior cooling coils at the top of the tanker shell. The jacket must be stenciled adjacent from the water capacities, water capacity stencil. Minimum operation temperature Fahrenheit. The tank of the installation must be designed to prevent measure of the loading and landing of the increasing of the pressure for the maximum allowable filling density to the starting of the discharge pressing of the pressure relief valve within 30 days of the ambient temperature of 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Except as provided in Statute 173-314D, the tank car built on the March 16, 2009, we use for the transportation of hydrogen chloride refrigerated liquid must be applicable to authorized tanker specification listed in 173-314. C. 179-103 special requirements for Class 114A tanker car tanks. In addition to the applicable requirements to Statute 179-100 and 179-101, the following requirements shall be complied with. 107 and 103 type. The tanks built under the section may be approved with the cross section. Any portion of the tank shall not be not have circular and cross section shall have the walls with the thickness that shall be so reinforced with the stress in the wall of the cover with the given internal pressure no greater than the circumferential stress which would exist under the same internal pressure of the wall of the tanker's circular cross section designed in accordance with the paragraph 179-101, 6A and B. But in no case shall the wall thickness be less than the specified 179-101. Valves and fittings need not to be mounted on the manway cover. One opening may be provided each head for use for purging the tank in the interior. 179-103-2. The man cover. The manway cover must be approved of design, and no valve with the measuring and sample device are mounted on the manway cover. No protective housing is required. 179-103-3. Venting and loading and unloading measuring sample device. Venting and loading and unloading valves measuring and sample devices when you attach the nozzles to the tank shell, the heads, the valves, and imprudencies must be grouped in locations separately provided in 179-103-5. And may be equipped with protective housing covering may be recessed with the tank shell with the covered additional grouped up in another location may be provided with protective housing with the cover when used to meet the steel side walls not less than 3/4 of an inch thickness of the metal cover not less than 1/4 of an inch thickness that can be securely closed under frame. Sills are unacceptable. Alternate with the protective housing cover provided with the arrangement of the improved design. Fittings recessed into the tank shell protective cover must be metal with not less than 1/4 of an inch in thickness. Water tank is used to transport liquid flammable gas as an interior pipe with loading and unloading. Sample valves must be equipped with accessible flow valves approved with the design, except for the quick closing interval valves approved with design are used when interior pipe with the gauging and devices provided with the meaning of the passage lading of the interior of the exterior tank must be equipped with an accessible flow valve approved design with an orifice not exceeding 0.06 of an inch. 179-103-4. Safety relief device and pressure regulator. Safety relief devices and pressure regulators must be located at the top of the tank near the center of the car with the nozzle mounting on the plate with the reset for the shell through the stud bolts and if used must not enter the tank. Metal guards and improved design must be provided with protective safety relief devices and pressure regulators for damage. 179-103-5. Bottom outlets. In addition to and in place of the venting, loading, and unloading valve measuring sample devices and prescribed in 179-103-3, the tanks must be equipped with approved at the bottom of the outlet valve. The pipe with the bottom outlet valve must meet the following requirements. On the tank uncovered with the center seal, a ball valve may be welded with the outside of the bottom of the tank, mounted with the pad with the nozzle with the tongue of the groove with the male and the female flange attachment, but in no case shall the breakage groove with equivalence extend below the bottom flange with the center seal of the cars without continuous center sills. A ball valve may be welded with the outside bottom of the tank mounted with the tongue of the groove of the male and the female flange attachment pad attached to the outside bottom of the tank. The impounding pad must be the maximum thickness of 2.5 inches measured in the longitudinal center of the tank of the valve. Operating of the mechanism must be provided with a suitable locking arrangement to ensure positive closure during transit. 2. Internal bottom to outlet valve is used with the liquid flammable gas surface. The outlet of the valve must be equipped with the excessive flow valve with approved design, except when the quick closing interval valve is approved. The design is used with the protective housing is not required. Bottom outlet must be equipped with the liquid tight closure as it is lower end. Bottom outlet equipment must be approved with design and must meet the following requirements. Alright, the stream projection of the bottom outlet of the equipment may not be more than allowed with Appendix E of the AAR specification of the tanker cars, 171.17 of the subchapter. All bottom outlet reducers and closures of their attachments shall be secured with the car in at least 3/8 of an inch chain, the equivalent except with the bottom outlet enclosure. The plugs attached with the 1/4 inch chain. When the bottom of the outlet closure is on the combination with the cap of the valve type with the pipe connection with the valve shall be closed with the plug cap approved with the quick coupling device. The bottom outlet requirements shall be included with only the valve with the reducer closure within necessary with attachment, unloading the fixture, the permanent with attachment, the supplementary exterior with the fittings improved with the AAR committee with the tanker cars to provide with the attachment unloading connection with the discharge end with the bottom outlet knob with the reducer of the valve body with the exterior valve. Some of the fixed attachment therefore shall be provided with one of the following arrangements approved with the modification thereof. See Appendix E, Figure E17 with the AAR specification, tanker cars illustration, some of the possible arrangements. 1. A bolted flange closed arrangement with including the minimum 1 inch NPT pipe with including the auxiliary valve with the threaded with the closure of the threaded cap with the closure arrangement including the minimum 1 inch NPT pipe plug with a C figure 17 E17-2 with including the auxiliary valve with the threaded closure. 3. A quick coupling device using the threaded plug with the closure with at least 1 inch of the NPT over the having the threaded cap of the closure with a minimum of 1 inch NPT pipe plug. See figure E17.3 with the E and through E17.5 with the minimum 1 inch auxiliary test valve with the threaded with the closure may be substituted with the 1 inch pipe plug. See figure E17.6 with the thread cap of the closure does not have the pipe plug with the integral auxiliary test valve with the minimum 1 inch NPT pipe plug must shall include the outlet valve above the closure. See figure E17.3. 17.7. The two-place quick coupling device using clamp device cap must include an inline auxiliary valve with either the integral quick coupling device located between the primary bottom outlet valve with the quick coupling device. The quick coupling device closure dust cap of the outlet nozzle shall be fitted with a minimum of 1 inch NPT closure with the G figure 17, 18, 17, 19. 17.8, 17.9. The valve operating with the mechanism must be provided with a suitable locking arrangement and closure with a positive closure during transit. If the outlet nozzle extends 6 inches more than from the shell tank of the V-shape, the breakage of the groove shall be cut and outcast in the upper part of the outlet nozzle with the point immediately below the lowest part of the valve cut closest to the thickness, closest to the tank. Note for the nozzle with the thickness of the roof of the V being more than 1/4 inch on the cars without continuous center seal of the breakage groove or equivalent. It may not be more than 15 inches below the tank and on the cars with the continuous center with the seal breakage groove with the equivalent. It must be above the bottom of the center seal construction. And 5. The valve body must be thickness of that which will ensure the accidental breakage of the outlet nozzle will occur at or below the V groove, and its equivalent will not cause the distortion of the valve seat or valve. Subpart D, specification of non-pressure tank car tank classes .111 AW and 115 AW.